Well, first, I'd like to commend and congratulate the other inductees and just say that it's so nice to see these athletes develop their God-given talents, not only for themselves, but to inspire so many others to and make their lives a little bit better. First, I want to express some gratitude. First, to my parents. I had the best parents in the world. We wish they were still here, of course. Vic and Carmen, they encouraged me, and as well as my brothers and sisters. And whatever we did that was positive, they were all for it. The other ones, they were all against it. Tonight, I have three of my wife and three of our four children. The other one, Jeff, is living in Naples, Florida. He couldn't be here tonight, but my wife, Norma, is here. Our daughter, Jamie, and her husband, Dr. Eric Sievertson. My son, Lynn, and his wife, Robin. My son, Danny, and his wife, Mary Ann. Thank you all for being here. Next, a very, very special thank you to the late Bruce Fossum and his wife, Mary. He was my coach. You know, the recruiting was not that dramatic. I'd known Bruce for quite a few years. I'm from East Lansing. One night Bruce said, "Can I come over to your house?" He came over. He said, "I want you to play golf for Michigan State and come to school here. And if you do, we'll give you a scholarship." I said yes, and he said good, and he went home, but that was that. Actually, I knew Bruce well enough that because he actually refereed some of my high school basketball games, and I was telling somebody after several bad calls, I almost decided not to come here, but I figured he made a lot better golf coach than he did a basketball official. It's just my bias. Bruce did make it clear that when he came on board, he was going to win a Big Ten championship. That was one of his number one goals, if not the number one goal. He wanted to win a Big Ten championship, and he wanted to go to the NCAA tournament every year. And I'm proud to say and happy to say that he and we did that in 1969. And we were the first golf team to win a Big Ten championship. But obviously, not the last one. There's been many since, not only for the men, but for the women as well. And that kind of maybe makes me happy or a little bit proud to think maybe we paved the way a little bit. So look at what's happened, and look at this golf program now. You've got on the men's side, you've got Casey Luban, and look at his players. Some before him, actually. A friend of mine, Matt Harmon, won an individual Big Ten championship. Ryan Brem still playing the PGA Tour. Both of them are great players that I know somewhat well. And now, of course, I'm sure you've all heard of our very own U.S. amateur champion, James Pyatt. So he's on a trophy now with Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus. So it's pretty special what's happening in golf. So after college, several years after college, I was working as a golf professional at Green Ridge Country Club in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where Stacy Labodnik's parents were members. So Stacy was a young lady, and I'm proud to say that at times she took some golf lessons and was a student of mine. And look at that program. Those girls are phenomenal. I'm not sure if this is true or not, Stace, but Big Ten championships. I think her golf program has won more big championships than any other sport, maybe, other than Izzo's basketball program. So it's pretty special. Those girls come to Florida, where I live, every spring break, and I get a wonderful opportunity to play with some of those great players that are playing on girls' golf team. So that's really wonderful. Golf's not totally an individual sport. When we won the Big Ten championship, my teammates, we had Lee Edmondson, he was a Michigan boy. We had Denny Vass, another one from Michigan boy from Jackson, Michigan. But we also had a young fellow by the name of Rick Wolf from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And we had my college roommate, Larry Murphy from Wheeling, West Virginia. And finally, Graham Cook from a small town outside of Montreal, Canada. Now, Graham Cook later became my brother-in-law, having met and then married my sister here in East Lansing. So anyway, my story is as green and white as it can be. So if you don't know, from right here, it's probably for me maybe a good drive in a 7-iron to where I grew up. 121 Center Street, 2 houses down from the Harrison Road house, right across Michigan Avenue. And in those days, there was a true practice green with bent grass and a sand bunker right on Old College Field. And I could walk to Old College Field and hit balls and practice all I wanted to. It was right next to the baseball field. And so that's how close I lived. But not only that, I had, growing up, went to grade school at Central School. I think the building's still there, but the school's not. I had 3 real close friends. One of my friends and golfing buddy was Bert Using, and both of Bert's parents were professors here at Michigan State. And I had another real close friend by the name of Fred Stabley Jr. Fred Stabley Jr.'s dad was Fred Stabley Sr., who was the sports information director here at Michigan State. And my third close friend was David Hanna. And David Hanna was the son of John Hanna, who was president of the university. So I spent an awful lot of time on campus. I spent nights at the Cowles house and sleepovers. Dave and I would go to, believe it or not, we'd go to the museum, some scholastic endeavors, and we'd go to, in those days they called them travel logs, and stories about places around the world. And also I could get into almost any sporting event, either legitimately and sometimes maybe a little illegitimately, but I knew how to get into those sporting events. And so when I got real interested in golf, I started hanging out at Forest Acres a little bit, and I got to know the managers, all the workers, and I spent my youth pretty much playing golf at Forest Acres and practicing there, and even working there some and caddying there some. So that's pretty much my story. It was a wonderful childhood, which turned into really a wonderful adulthood, and to a large part, thanks to Michigan State University. Go Green.